Hi, I'm Elowen. Most people call me Ellie, except for my sister Camille, who insists on using my full name with that slight tone that makes it sound like I'm being scolded. We were never the closest growing up, but family is family, right? That's what I kept telling myself, especially when she called me 6 months ago with the most amazing news ever. Elowen, Marcus proposed. Camille's voice practically vibrated through the phone. That's wonderful, Cam. Congratulations! When's the big day? I paced around my apartment, genuinely happy for her. Well, that's the thing. Her voice shifted to that familiar wheedling tone. We want to do it properly, you know? But with Marcus starting his new position and the housing market being what it is, I knew exactly where this was heading. How much do you need? We're not asking for a handout, she said quickly. Just a loan. 20,000? We'll pay you back as soon as Marcus's first bonus comes through. My stomach tightened. That was most of my savings, earmarked for my own business startup. That's a lot, Cam. I know. But you're doing so well with your consulting, and it's not like you have a family to support. The familiar sting of her casual dismissal of my life choices hit right on target. Plus, I want you to be my maid of honor. It'll be your investment in making your only sister's day perfect. Against my better judgment and my best friend Tori's explicit warnings, I agreed. I even helped with vendor selections, making payments directly to secure better rates with my excellent credit score. 3 months passed with decreasing communication from Camille. Each time I asked about wedding plans, she deflected. We're just so busy with everything. Marcus's mother is being impossible about the guest list. The wedding planner has it all under control. Then, yesterday, I called to ask about the final fitting for my maid of honor dress. Oh, Camille said with disturbing casualness. We had it yesterday. Had what yesterday? I asked, confused. The wedding, she replied, as if discussing a casual lunch. Marcus's boss offered us his beach house in the Hamptons last minute, and we had to take it. Super exclusive, very intimate. Just immediate family and Marcus's work connections. You understand, right? Business networking and all that? I paid for your wedding, I said, my voice strangely calm. $20,000? And I'm not immediate family? Don't be dramatic, Elowen. Mom and Dad were there. You know what I meant? Besides, it wasn't the actual wedding we planned. Just a small ceremony. We'll do the big reception later, and you can come to that. That's when I heard Marcus in the background asking who was on the phone. Just Elowen, Camille replied away from the receiver. Being typically difficult about missing the ceremony. Does he know I paid for it? I asked. A telling pause. Look, I need to go. We're about to have dinner with Marcus's partners. I'll send you pictures. The line went dead. My hand shook as I called Tori. She did what? Tori's voice exploded through the speaker. Had the wedding yesterday without telling me. I was still in shock. After you paid for the whole thing? That's theft, Ellie. Literal theft. She said they'll have a reception later that I can attend. And you believe that? After this? Tori scoffed. What did your parents say? I haven't called them yet. I'm still trying to process this. Call them, now. Then call me back. And Ellie? Don't let her get away with this. Not this time. She told us you couldn't make it, my father said, his voice gruff with discomfort. Something about a big client meeting you couldn't reschedule. I gripped my phone tighter, pacing around my kitchen. Dad, she never invited me. I just found out yesterday that the wedding happened. That can't be right, Mom chimed in from the extension. Camille specifically said you sent your regrets, but your gift was very generous. My gift? You mean the $20,000 I put toward the wedding? That wasn't a gift. It was supposed to be a loan, and I was supposed to be the maid of honor. Silence stretched across the line. Who was the maid of honor? I finally asked. Brittany, Mom answered quietly. Marcus's sister. I closed my eyes, feeling the betrayal sink deeper. And none of you thought it was strange that I wasn't there? Honey, Dad began, his voice hesitant. Camille mentioned you two had some disagreement about the wedding planning. Said you were being controlling because you contributed financially. What? I nearly dropped the phone. She said that. Well, Mom interjected. She didn't use those exact words, but I need copies of everything, I cut in. Photos, the guest list, the program, everything from the wedding. Can you send those to me? Elowen, Dad said warily. What are you planning? I just want to see my sister's wedding that I apparently paid for. After another awkward conversation where my parents promised to send what they had, I called Ryan, my cousin who works as a paralegal. Hey, superstar, he answered cheerfully. What's up? How much do you know about fraud cases? I asked without preamble. Whoa, straight to business. What happened? I explained the situation, my voice growing steadier with each detail. Wow, Ryan said. You have receipts for all the payments, right? Everything. I paid the vendors directly. And witnesses who can confirm you were told you'd be maid of honor? Tori was there for several conversations, and I have texts. What about the loan aspect? Any written agreement? I sighed. No, just verbal. Classic mistake. Not ideal, but not fatal, Ryan replied thoughtfully. If the story is as you've told it, this could be considered fraudulent misrepresentation. You were induced to part with money based on false pretenses. What do I need to do? First, gather everything, all communication, receipts, witnesses. Then talk to Carmen at our firm. She handles civil cases like this. Will this get ugly? I asked. With family? Always? Ryan hesitated. Are you sure you want to pursue this? Once you start, it'll change your relationship with Camille forever. She already did that when she took my money and excluded me from the wedding. Fair point. One more thing. Have you talked to Marcus directly? Are you sure he knows about your financial contribution? That question struck me. No. Camille always handled the money discussions. Might be worth finding out what he knows before proceeding. Could change your approach. After hanging up, I received a text from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, Ellie, it's Marcus. Can we meet tomorrow for coffee? Just you and me. There are some things we should discuss. I stared at the message, my heart pounding. Interesting timing, I muttered and replied, Compass Coffee, 2 p.m., come alone. I had no idea, Marcus said, his face pale as we sat in the corner of the bustling coffee shop. I swear to you, Elowen, Camille told me her parents helped with the wedding, and you couldn't attend because of work. I studied him carefully. Marcus had always seemed decent, if a bit oblivious to my sister's manipulations. So you didn't know about the $20,000 I provided? 20,000? His eyes widened. No, God, no. She said we were using money from her savings and help from her parents. About 8,000 total. Where did you think the rest came from? Your beach wedding couldn't have been cheap, even scaled down? Marcus looked genuinely confused. It wasn't cheap, but nowhere near what you're describing. Maybe 15,000 total? Camille handled all the finances. As she always does, I said flatly. Did you ever wonder why? He rubbed his face. I trusted her. We have separate accounts and she's always been particular about money matters. Particular, I repeated. That's one word for it. What are you going to do? He asked cautiously. Get my money back, one way or another. I'll help, he said immediately. This isn't right. I had no idea she'd excluded you deliberately, or about the money. The coffee shop door swung open, and Camille stormed in, her face contorted with anger. What the hell is this? She demanded, marching to our table. Having secret meetings with my husband now, Elowen? Nothing about this is secret, I replied calmly. Unlike your wedding. I told you we had to take the opportunity when it came up, she snapped. Not everything revolves around your schedule. Camille, Marcus interrupted. Why didn't you tell me Ellie paid for most of the wedding? Her expression flickered briefly before settling into indignation. That's not true. She offered to help with a small portion. $20,000, I cut in. I have all the receipts. You're exaggerating as usual, she scoffed. It wasn't nearly that much. The venue alone was $12,000, I countered. I have the receipt right here. I slid my phone across the table, showing the payment confirmation. Camille's face flushed. So what if you helped? It was a gift. Family helps family. It was a loan, I corrected. And family doesn't exclude family from major life events they funded. Oh, please, she rolled her eyes. You're always so dramatic. This is exactly why I didn't want you there, ruining my special day with your attention-seeking behavior. Marcus stared at her, incredulous. Camille, that's enough. Don't you start, she snapped at him. She's always been like this, twisting things to make herself the victim. I have the receipts, the texts, and the emails, I said evenly. How exactly am I twisting anything? You know what? Camille leaned forward, her voice dropping dangerously. Keep your stupid money. If it means that much to you, we'll pay you back when we can. But this little stunt, going behind my back to my husband? You're dead to me, Elowen. That's funny, I replied, considering I was already dead enough to be excluded from your wedding. You want to play it this way? Fine. She stood abruptly. But you'll regret this, I promise you that. Family doesn't sue family. Who said anything about suing? I asked innocently. Her face paled slightly. Marcus, we're leaving, now. Actually, Marcus said slowly, I think I'll stay a bit longer. What? Camille hissed. We need to talk about this, Camille. All of this. There's nothing to discuss. She's lying to cause problems like she always does. The receipts say otherwise, he replied firmly. Camille's face contorted with rage. She grabbed my coffee cup and threw it against the wall, splattering liquid across the floor. You've always been jealous of me, she spat. Always trying to ruin my happiness. Well, I won't let you poison my marriage too. As the cafe manager approached, Camille stormed out, shoving past a startled customer. I'm so sorry, Marcus apologized to the manager, already pulling out his wallet to pay for damages. I just sat there, strangely calm. That, I said quietly, was helpful. All rise, the bailiff announced as the judge entered the courtroom. 3 months had passed since the coffee shop confrontation. 3 months of evidence gathering, legal consultations, and one failed mediation attempt where Camille had stormed out after 20 minutes. Today was our small claims court date for the financial aspect of my case. The separate restraining order hearing would come next week, following Camille's escalating behavior. Showing up at my workplace, sending threatening messages, and finally attempting to break into my apartment while screaming obscenities. As the proceedings began, I glanced at my support section. Tori sat beside me, while Ryan and my parents were in the row behind us. Marcus sat separately, having filed for annulment after discovering multiple financial discrepancies beyond just my wedding money. Your Honor, Carmen began, this is a straightforward case of fraudulent misrepresentation. Miss Elowen Park provided $23,467 to her sister, Camille Barrett, under specific conditions that were willfully breached. Camille's lawyer, a nervous-looking man who kept checking his watch, attempted to argue that the money was a gift with no strings attached. If it was a gift? The judge asked, peering over her glasses. Then why was the plaintiff repeatedly told she would be maid of honor and fully included in a wedding that she wasn't ultimately invited to? Family misunderstandings happen, Your Honor. $23,000 is quite an expensive misunderstanding, the judge observed dryly. When Camille took the stand, her performance was a masterclass in victimhood. My sister has always been controlling with her money, she sniffled. When she offered to help with the wedding, I knew there would be strings attached, but I never thought she'd do this. During cross-examination, Carmen methodically dismantled Camille's story, presenting text messages, emails, and witness statements contradicting each claim. And is it your testimony that throwing a coffee mug in a public establishment while threatening your sister was also a misunderstanding? Carmen asked calmly. I was provoked, Camille insisted. She was trying to turn my husband against me. By showing him financial records that you had concealed? When the ruling came, it was decisive. Full restitution plus court costs, with a payment plan if needed. The judge's additional comments about Camille's credibility would prove useful for the upcoming restraining order hearing. Outside the courtroom, Camille made one last attempt, approaching me with tear-filled eyes. "Elowen, please," she pleaded. "This has all gotten so out of hand. We're sisters. Can't we just put this behind us? I'll pay you back, I promise." "Like you promised I'd be your maid of honor?" I replied calmly. "I made a mistake," she admitted, her voice breaking. "A terrible mistake. But don't throw away our relationship over money." "This was never about money, Camille. It was about respect, honesty, and the fact that you've been manipulating me my entire life. The wedding was just the final straw." "So, that's it? 28 years of being sisters gone?" I looked at her directly. "You ended our relationship when you decided I wasn't worth including in a wedding I paid for. I'm just making it official." "You'll regret this," she said, her vulnerable mask slipping. "When Mom and Dad are gone, when you're all alone, you'll regret throwing family away." "I'm not alone," I replied, looking at the supportive faces waiting for me. "I have people in my life who actually care about me. That's something money can't buy." As I walked away with Tori and Ryan, my father caught up with us. "Are you okay?" he asked awkwardly. "I will be," I answered honestly. "It'll take time. Your mother and we should have asked more questions. Should have seen what was happening." "Yes, you should have," I agreed. "But we can talk about that another day." As we left the courthouse, Tori squeezed my arm. "So, what now?" "Now." I took a deep breath of fresh air. "I start that business I've been dreaming about. With my own money, on my own terms." "No more funding other people's dreams?" Ryan asked with a small smile. "Oh, I'll still help people I care about," I replied. "But from now on, I'm investing in relationships that give as much as they take. Speaking of which, who's buying lunch? I seem to be short about $23,000. They laughed, and for the first time in months, I laughed too. Have you ever cut someone toxic from your life, even family? Was it worth it in the end? Let me know in the comments below.